What about this next question? If I did not behave accordingly or according to gender expectations or roles, were there any consequences?
I think with, like, my husband's family, like, the in-law, not the direct in-laws, but, like, so, like, you know, like, there's the grandparents, the sisters, the you know, the direct family members, you know. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you go one circle out, like, the aunts, the cousins, the, you know. Mm-hmm. I think they kind of side-eye me a little bit because I'm not Hopi, and I don't act like a Hopi woman, mm-hmm. and I don't do the things I'm supposed to do as a Hopi woman. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. I don't care. They can talk all they want, but then they definitely just like, oh, it's you.
But that's a consequence, right?
Yeah, it's
mm-hmm.
just...
Yeah.
So that's one of the consequences where, like, they just kind of, like, side-eye me and give me, like, oh. And, like, I talked to him, I'm like, do you feel bad that I'm not this way? Like, because, like, my mom one time came over, was like, you're not the good housewife, Kelsey. You're not making breakfast. You're not cleaning and blah, blah, blah. Gernon's over here doing dishes. And so I'm like, Gernon, does it upset you that I'm not a good housewife? He's like, no, I knew who I married.
I love that.
I was like,
that's
okay.
the thing I love about your husband is he knows who you are. He loves you and accepts you for who you are, and he doesn't try to change you. You are a blessed woman.
Thanks.
Because there's a lot of women that don't have that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so.
I feel like I'm a blessed woman too because my husband is the same way. I was listening to this toxic podcast, and these guys were talking about the roles of women and how they should be and what's expected of them, and I started to kind of question, like, am I out of line? You know what I mean? Like, dang, like, I don't fit any of that. And I asked my husband, and he was like, those guys are idiots. He's like, I love you for who you are. I respect you for who you are, and I don't think you should change because of these dumbasses on a podcast. And I was like, all right, cool.
So this next one, I guess, like, do I experience stressors related to my gender identity? And I think no, because I've never questioned my gender identity. I've always been me. I've never been like, oh, I should be someone else. You know, I question everyone else's societal norms about what genders should do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I feel like if you like doing it, if it makes you happy, if you're good at it, then go ahead and do it. I don't care. If it brings you joy and it makes you happy and you're not killing someone, go ahead and do it.
Yeah. I think, like, in my personal life, there aren't consequences because my husband's awesome. But in my professional life, there are. Like I said, I can be very aggressive and outspoken, and I am very confident, and I move through my professional life like I think a man would, sometimes more so, and what that does is it really hits other men's masculinity in the gut, and it's like, and I can see it, it's like, bam, gut punch, and they're just like, oh, you know, and they're just all hurt, and they get all scared, and they're all intimidated, and I'm just like, bro, like, chill, like, it's not that bad, like, I'm your equal, I'm here to work with you, not against you, and they just can't. And this has happened twice with two men, and my supervisor, he saw it, and he was like, it's just their ego, they're intimidated by you, and it's not because you did anything wrong. I support you, I knew who I hired, I chose you for a reason, keep it up, I'll deal with these guys. And he had to smooth it out for me because... And it was so embarrassing for them. I felt so embarrassed for them. Like, you guys suck. Like,
act right.
Like, I know, act right. Like, you're afraid of me? Like, little old me, really? Like, what? But it's crazy because, like, that's the consequence sometimes. But I'm okay with it. So, I'll answer the next question. Do I experience stressors related to my gender identity? Again, no, I do not. I do not stress out about being a woman. I do not stress out being female. I think I get really irritated. I guess I do have stressors politically when it comes to politics. When people say women can't be leaders and they're not equipped to be leaders, and
I mean, that's
I'm
what
just
I said,
like, that's BS.
Like, because I get mad at, like, the social norms about gender, not my gender identity. I've never been stressed out about who I am as a person, as a mom, as a wife. Like, I don't stress about my gender identity. I just don't like society.
Yeah.
Full stop.
I think because I identify as a woman, that does affect me, and I think that it affects me when, if I wasn't being pushed into leadership positions, it wouldn't be applicable. If I didn't care about the outcomes related to elections, if I wasn't as aware of legislation that's out there that affect women, I don't think it would bother me. But I am aware of that, and I do care, and I do participate. Therefore, those things do stress me out. Have I experienced fluidity regarding my gender identity? For example, someone identifying as female and engaging in male-dominant sports or wearing men's clothes. Yes. Very fluid.
I think all of our talks have been like, we're very fluid in the things we do. Like, normally girls don't get tattoos. Normally girls aren't in the filmmaking industry, you know. And I am. I have tattoos.
And I worked in a very like male-dominant arena as far as like when I work with renewable energy, working in the field of science, working in business. Those are male-dominant
but like that's outside,
arenas.
I feel like. But like when you look, for me, none of this feels like gender fluid, because in my sphere of people that I'm surrounded by, women are business owners, generational business owners. Their moms, their grandmas, their great grandmas.
That's true.
Business owners.
For her, but not for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's not fluid, and like for me, like. Yeah. My aunts, they were the first people I saw who had tattoos because they were in the Marine Corps. Yeah. It's not fluid. It's like people do things, and it, like they've never been assigned a gender except for like if I didn't, that's not feminine. I'm like, whatever, I gotta go, bye.
Yeah, like in my close family, there aren't any women who have been who've been in the military or who are veterans or who have gone to war. You know what I mean? It's only men. When I was a pipe fitter, working in that industrial environment, that was very male dominant, and I was an anomaly to all of that. So, and I think sometimes I do dress up in masculine male clothing too, and I wear cologne, and there's many days I don't wear makeup, and you know what I mean? Like, and I can be very masculine, and my husband freaks out about it sometimes, like, what the hell? But it's cool. You know what I mean? But
yeah, because like sometimes I like just wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, and sometimes I don't wear a bra because no one likes wearing bras.
Yeah, and I think like performing femininity is one thing, and it's a choice. It's not an everyday thing though, for me at least. And I do strategically place myself in male dominant arenas because I like to play ball and I like to play hard.
Has my gender ever been misidentified? Attaching my voice to a different gender, assuming my gender just by learning my name? How do I feel? I mean, I've always presented as my birth sex, and I've never been misidentified. You said earlier you kind of do that with like emails and your name.
Email, yeah, but that's because my name is spelled like how they normally spell a boy's name. So people, and that's the only time. But like face to face, no one's ever assumed I was a boy ever in my life. And yeah, that's okay. How did it feel?
I've never been misidentified, so I don't know the feeling. How have I contributed to reinforcing binary gender socialization, making jokes, participating in gender reveal parties, imposing traditional gender norms on my loved ones? I don't impose gender norms on people. I assume until I'm corrected. And I don't know how other way. I don't want to like go up to people and ask them, what's your gender? How do I identify you? If they want to correct me.
Oh, like what are your pronouns?
Yeah, I don't go up and ask people those. I feel like it's kind of weird. And then if I'm wrong, then correct me. Then I feel like the people should do that. Like, if you're dressed kind of butch and masculine and I think you're a guy, but you're like, no, I'm a girl. I'm like, okay, you're a girl.
I always say they. If I'm not sure, because some girls are very good, or some girls and boys are very good at disguising their gender with clothing and haircuts. Well, that's
probably like they just want to be binary.
So I always say they, because I'm not sure. I'm just like
not binary. What's it called? Yeah, right? Or non-binary.
Non-binary, yeah.
But like, tell me. I don't impose anything. Like,
yeah.
When like I don't know how you would impose a gender. norm on people.
The
like
way people do it, oftentimes, like from birth, they start dressing their girls in pink and their boys in blue. They assign them feminine or masculine names based on their sex. They design their room. You know what I mean?
My daughter's named Frankie.
I know. I know.
We named her after my dad because her birthday's a day before his.
Yeah. So it seems like you're probably not because, like, I know for me with my kids, I did not want to reinforce the binary gender socialization. I didn't want to make it stronger than it needs to be. So I was very gender neutral with my kids and their clothing. They dressed mostly in, like, earthen tones, you know what I mean? Blacks and whites. I would put my daughter in blue clothes, you know what I mean? Things like that. And like some of the boys, like my nephew, his favorite color is pink. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with his sexuality. Mm-mm. But he loved the color pink. It's nice to get him pink stuff. I was never like, ew, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, I always appreciated the authenticity of people, and knowing what I know through my education, I wanted to be very careful about how I socialized my kids. Oh. And I never wanted to push my son or daughter, because my children, you know, I had a son first, then I had a daughter, and I never wanted to push them into boxes. Like, I wanted them to be authentic, whole people, and I wanted them to just know that they were safe with me. They could be their true natural selves with me, and I knew that eventually they would start to, you know, it started in school. They started to get socialized in school, not so much in the home. You know what I mean? School is what put them into boxes. That's when they learned their pronouns. That's when they learned what boys do, what girls do. That's when they started asking about that, and I was just like, you know, it's kind of annoying.
I think it's one of the things in school where you like, he, she, if you can do it correctly.
And it was like girls' bathrooms, boys' bathrooms. You know what I mean? At home, we all use the same bathroom.
Yeah, but I think at school, legally, you need to have them separated.
But that's, so the socialization began at school for my kids, at least. In the home, I did not force that on them. I never did a gender reveal party. You know what I mean? I mean, making jokes about it wasn't something I did. I was very careful to avoid that.
What do you mean, like, making jokes about?
Like, making jokes, pushing a certain identity on a person. So this could be like,
I feel like my family is just overly sarcastic, and we always tease and joke with each other anyways, that I'm pretty sure some gendered type of joke came out.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was like, we're making fun of you because of your gender. It's just, like, we're very mean to each other, to say it in a weird context, but like, we always just tease each other and make fun of each other all the time.
Yeah, when my kids were young, when they were small, I wasn't around a lot of family. I was very isolated. I didn't have a lot of, I was very isolated in my last marriage. You know what I mean? I wasn't around my family. It was just us, and I didn't have a lot of friends over either. You know what I mean? I was very isolated, and my kids and it was just like us three all the time. You know what I mean? And my family was very far away. So some families, they have like the grandma around all the time. They have the grandparents around. They have the aunts and the uncles. We didn't really have that as much. It was a very rare occasion when we were around them. And however whatever exposure they had to the family, at that time, it really wasn't around their masculinity or femininity. You know what I mean? It just didn't come up, it seemed like. Yeah. But if it did, I would call it out.
I think some traditional gender norms was like, when we shaved Frankie's head, we left her bangs, because you leave her bangs for girls, you know? And there's definitely like traditional native culture that we adhered to, because that's just, it's part of their tradition, it's part of their culture. Yeah. And it's really important to keep those things alive, especially with the community that's continuously doing it. Yeah. So doing the baby naming and having her aunts on her dad's side give her a name, because, you know, that's what's supposed to happen, and that's how it is, and that's very gendered. But I don't know how, like, that argues with like gender identity. It just, like, especially like with getting the girls' ears pierced, I feel like people are like, oh, well, now you're mutilating your child's body. I'm like, their earrings, they don't remember it. when they're older. I had my ears pierced since I was 6 months old. I don't hate my mom for giving me earrings or piercing my ears.
And in Navajo culture too, like, men have earrings, so it's not like a weird gender thing either, really, if you think about it, unless you're putting pink studs in her ear.
I mean, like, she like, Frankie, like, we even now we let her pick her clothes. Even then we let her pick her clothes. Like, I'd like grab a couple of them and she'd pick them. I tried putting her in pants. She hated pants. She hated wearing pants. She liked wearing dresses. So we just like, and we told people, like, hey, she likes to wear dresses. She doesn't wear pants.
Yeah, Frankie's very, like...
she knew who she was when she came out, you know?
Yeah, she knows what she likes, it seems like. Like, I think even if you tried to push her into a box, she would break out of the box.
She we call her the Empress of Destruction. She would
destroy the box.
She broke her, like, high chair. Those are baby-proof. Like, how does a baby break a baby-proof thing? She just, like, lifted it and yoinked it up because she didn't want it there anymore. So she's... my daughter, she's very strong-willed. And, like, even before she knew about boys and girls, we're like, Frankie, are you a boy or are you a girl? And she'd always be like, I'm a Frankie.
Yeah.
And she was like that for a while. And then she went to school and she learned what a boy and a girl was.
Yeah.
You know, so right now in her mind, a boy goes to the bathroom standing up and a girl goes to the bathroom sitting down. I think that's as far as they take it. Yeah. In a sense, at school.
When my kids were younger, it was easier to control that, but now that they're older, it's absolutely out of my control, it seems like. The only thing I can nurture in them is just, like, nurture their emotions, you know what I mean? And not force any kind of toxic masculinity on my son. You know, I've always made sure that they have a safe space within our home to feel emotion, to experience emotion, to express it, and not... I don't tell my son, like, you're not supposed to act like that or feel like that or behave. You know what I mean? Like, you can't cry, things like that. I don't do that to any of my kids. I don't want to. And I have to police myself because it's easy to be swayed by, you know, outside influences. So I am very careful and calculated. But where it gets a little muddy right now when it comes to reinforcing binary gender socialization is now... the kids, like, my son is approaching high school age. I mean, he is high school age. He's in high school now, and he's been talking about dating.
Oh, no.
And he's asking questions about it. And I told him, you do not have permission to date because you have to focus on your school, so don't even think about it. I know, and I know I can't control it, but I just need him to know what my position is and why I have that position. But he's been asking, you know, what is it, you know, this is what my friends are doing. Because everyone's dating around him. And this is how they do it. And this is what's going on. And so I told him, you know, and this is where I'm reinforcing the binary. I told him that, you know, the way I was taught is, and so I'm kind of passing down what my grandparents and parents taught me. Number one, girls are not supposed to chase boys. Number two, boys are supposed to treat girls with respect. And number three, when it comes to dating, girls are not supposed to ask boys out. That's what I was told, right? So I know you're looking at me weird, but that's what I was taught. Like, you're not supposed to chase after boys. They're supposed to chase after you. So I told my son, like, and he was like, yeah, I'm not attracted to girls that are always trying to date everybody. You know what I mean? He's like, I want to make that selection. I want to make that choice on my own. And I was like, okay, why? You know, so we have these conversations. It's not saying, oh, you're right, son. You should, you know what I mean? No, it's why? I want to know. So we have these conversations. And that's just me. And I told him, you can reject any of this, but this is at least my stance. And the reason why I'm telling you is because you asked. You know what I mean? So he's like, okay. But I was like, in a relationship, I was like, that's different. That's not dating. In a relationship, that's where equality comes in. You're expected to do just as much as she does. You're expected to be balanced with her. You are not above her. You are not below her. You are side by side working with her 100%. Equality is key. She has to contribute as much as you contribute. When it comes to when you're in a relationship, even before you're married, you know, you share the expenses of things. There's balance. But I was telling him, like, that you're not even there yet. You know what I mean? You're not even allowed to be there yet. I was like, you need to have a job before you date. I was like, I'm not going to pay for your dates. I'm like, I'm not going to drive you to a date. You have to be old enough to have a job and to pay for your dates. I'm not going to pay for gifts for your girlfriend. You're going to pay for it. So he started to understand, okay, there's a responsibility in this. And I was telling him the reason why that's important is because I don't want you ending up in a quick relationship where you get linked to someone who's going to, like, you're both too immature at this point. And what if you guys get pregnant? You know what I mean? What if you guys decide to be stupid and, you know, not use protection? And that's a very real reality. It happens all the time. Then guess what? You're going to be in a situation where you have to raise a child with this person who's not fully developed, who might not even have great qualities, and that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. Why would you put yourself in that situation? I was like, just think about it. You know what I mean? I was like, and this isn't just all coming from me. These are things that are passed down throughout the years. Just hearing what I'm saying, you can see I am reinforcing the binary gender socialization. I'm reinforcing the gender norms in a sense. But the way I'm doing it is to kind of get him to think. And I always tell him, I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to tell you what to think about. You know what I mean? It's all really your decision in the end. But I told him the consequences are also your own. When it comes to male-female gender norms, I have reinforced it again with the kinalda ceremony. Both my kids have had that. My daughter had the female kinalda ceremony. My son had the male kinalda ceremony. Many families don't do that anymore. I did it. I made sure it happened for both of them. I was not going to let my daughter alone have it or my son not have it. They both had to have it done, and I've worked from the time my son was a little baby to locate Hatali that could perform that ceremony correctly for him. Because I was hearing from all these people, oh, they don't do that anymore. It's only girls. And I wasn't seeing it happening, and I wasn't hearing about it. But I was like, no, my son has to have this. As a young man, I want to put him on the right path, and he needs to have that connection with the Indana. He has to have that connection with the holy people. He deserves that. I did not bring him into this world to leave him, to just let him go. That's not, my job as a mother is to guide him and be there for him.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, like, traditional, like, cultural teachings, like, with Frankie and her Hopi side, there's definitely gendered things where, like, males do the Kachina dances, and she can do different dances as a female. But that's if she starts showing interest and wanting to be more involved in the culture, which I think she is. She loves going to the dances and seeing the honas, and she kind of does the little yeah every once in a while. So I know that's something I have to, like, prepare her to do and, like, be able to go and see. And, like, even, like, during the bean dance, you know, the girls, they get Kachina dolls, and the boys, they get the bows and arrows and the lightning sticks.
Yeah.
That's very gendered, and that's what they're... I don't see it as toxic. It's just the way their culture is. And who are we as, like, a larger society, of, like, a woke society, to judge a culture that's trying to hold on to its traditional values and way of life? And I feel like a lot of, like, Western society is like, no, that's a girl and a boy thing. We can't have any girl-boy things. It has to be everyone's everything. I'm like, but it's not, and we're not inviting you to come in and change our ways. Yeah.
Like, the Western norms, I try my best not to apply them. Sometimes I do, like I said, like with dating stuff. That's, like, American. It's very Western. The courtship, you know, traditions are there. But I do want my son to be a gentleman. I want him to have some class and not just be some annoying, disrespectful boy, you know?
Just talking about, your things, I am everything that you don't want. I'm like, I pursued Gurnan. I do not come from a good family. I'm very outspoken, and I don't know. I don't play that, like, weird dating game where, like, you letting them take care of you. It's like we did 50-50 with dates. I'm the one who asked him out and pursued him because I'm like, out of all the people I'm interested in, you are the most calculated. Because that's just how that's how I went with this. Like, there's a couple of guys I would want to date, and I definitely did a checklist and, like, a thing. I'm like, yeah, this guy's super attractive right now, and he's really interesting. But I don't see anything long-term with him. And, like, Gurnan, I'm like, I like him. I've known him for a while. I think we could get along. And if we start doing, like, dating and going through the things, if I learn his family more, I'm like, but he's Hopi, and I don't know if, like,
Yeah.
He's traditional. And, like, we talked about these things while we were dating. So then I'm like, yep, he's the safest bet to marry and start a family with and everything. But then even then our marriage was like, yeah, I guess we'll get married because we're having a kid and legally everything will be easier.
Yeah.
That's what our marriage was.
Yeah.
And I know it definitely hurt my mom when we just went to the courthouse and got married and really didn't tell anyone until afterwards.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, I know it sounds horrible and I'm sorry, but
I know, like, you
just
want
feel.
the best
I
and
just
the,
want
like,
the
the perfect person for...
The most ideal situation.
For your children, I know. And,
I
like,
do.
I hate
know.
letting my daughter out into the world and making friends because she has the biggest heart and she cares so much for people, and they're gonna hurt her deeply when inevitably some friend drama happens and she gets portrayed or lied to or some, like, it's gonna happen. It's just life. It's gonna hurt her.
So how I feel about being asked to use or being corrected to use non-binary pronouns like they, them, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't care. It's you. They're just words.
I think it's respectful, and I will use it if asked to. I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reject it or get mad or anything. When a person challenges society's binaries in any way, such as with appearance, speech, or by advocating for non-conforming gender identities, how do you feel? What automatic reactions does this evoke?
None. I don't think of people as female, male. I think of you as a person.
Yeah.
Usually I only think of, like, well, for me, I think of how useful you are to my company and my business and how I can use you. So...
You're a resource.
Are you a resource? Are you a friend? Are you an energy sucker? That's how I'm thinking about you. I don't care about your gender. I'm like, can I use you in my business? Are you good for social networking? Are you just here to take my energy? That's how I think of you.
I feel happy and proud when people challenge society's binaries in any way. I really do. I applaud them. I get excited by it. My automatic reaction is to make sure that they feel safe and accepted and that it's normal. You know what I mean? For me, it's all about normalizing and normalizing the challenge to the binary.
When I met or came across a trans or gender non-conforming individual, I treat them as I would treat a cisgender individual person who identifies as gender assigned at birth? If not, what is different for me? Like I said, I treat people as assets. Are you valuable to me or are you not? And that's the end of my assessment of you as a person.
Yeah. I treat everyone the same too, and I think that bothers some people that are trying to get a reaction. I notice a lot of people that are transgender, they almost expect you to react negatively. And I feel really bad because that's the expectation, and so many people do that. And so I don't do that because of empathy. And I'm trying not to be like a bad person.
I know at least 3 people before and after their transition. And I love them just the same as before as after because they're still a person. They're still the same person. They're just more of who they are, and they're happy. If they're happy, whatever, you know. Like, they're still the same person. They're still valuable to me as an asset, you know. That doesn't change anything.
They'll stay in the Rolodex. Dang.
I know, it seems cold and calculating, but, like, listening to how, like, people treat other people differently based on just their gender or the way they dress, I'm like, maybe the way I identify people or, you know, assess people isn't really that bad, because I don't care how they identify or who they're sleeping with.
Yeah.
Like, are you beneficial to me or are you not beneficial to me? And that's all I care about.
Yeah. This next question is, what feelings arise when I or you see non-binary trans individuals displaying affectionate behaviors with another person, such as kissing or expressing sexuality by being flirtatious or exhibiting provocative behavior? I mean,
any type of PDA is uncomfortable for me. It doesn't matter who it comes from. Like, I don't even like PDA from my own husband. And, like, so I don't like it. Doesn't matter who it's from. I don't like seeing it. I don't care who you're doing it with. I just don't want to see it. I don't like male, female, male, female, non-binary. I don't care. I just don't want you kissing in front of me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I don't like. no particular feelings arise when I see this. I think that for me, sexuality is a very personal and private thing. And so I'm not trying to, get in anybody else's business. And, and I try to treat people the way I expected to be treated. PDA is a big thing for me and my husband. We will kiss, make out, hold hands in public. We will be affectionate with one another. And that's because we believe that expressions of love and connection is important to our marriage. That's just how we interact with one another. And we don't care if it makes anyone uncomfortable. And we don't want anyone trying to shut it down either, or treat us bad, or look at us ugly, or say things to us, or harass us. Therefore, we don't do that to other people.
Yeah, I don't harass people. I'm just like, ugh, and like I pull up my phone. Like, I won't look at it. I don't appreciate it. I'm not gonna like, stop that.
Yeah.
I don't like. PDA makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think it does a lot of people.
I just don't like seeing people kissing.
I don't mind. I think it's hot. What assumptions do I make about a person's mental health when I learn they completed sex reassignment or gender confirmation surgery?
I think they are far more healthy because they have to go to therapy and they have to talk it through, and they have to be in a good mental mindset before they even are allowed to do the surgery.
Do you assume they will eventually change their mind?
No, that's what the point of the therapy and all the talks are, is the therapist, before approving the surgery, does the evaluation to see if it's just you feeling like you need to be a part of a trend, or if it's some other deep-rooted issue that isn't being assigned the wrong gender and needing to have the transformation.
Yeah.
So I feel like after the transformation, people who've been approved of the surgery, they've gone through the therapy. It's not a quick process. It's not like getting a boob job, where like you just get boobs and you recover. It's a long process where it takes, like I said, I've known at least 2 people who've gone through a complete transition, and it's years and months of like therapy and talking to your doctors and taking medication before the surgery. So I feel like they're in a more healthier space because they're happy with themselves for the first time.
Wow. I don't know anyone who's done that, and I think that what I think, I guess when it's asking about what you assume about a person's mental health, is I assume that person is going through some sort of turmoil mentally because they've had to live in a body that they don't feel comfortable in and they don't feel like they belong in. And I wonder, like, I can't help but think about how painful and uncomfortable that must be, and to have everyone assign a gender to you that you don't feel is innate to who you really are. But I've never actually been with anyone or known anyone who's done that. I've never had conversations with people who have done that, so I don't have that kind of same understanding you do.
Definitely, like, I guess in the process of it, they're probably in a lot of, like, turmoil, confronting a lot of things that they probably haven't had to confront or talk about.
Yeah.
But then after their surgery, once they've done it, I feel like they're probably in a more stable mental state because they're in the correct body for the first time.
Yeah.
And they're able to be happy.
Do I assume that they'll eventually change their mind? No, I don't think so. I think that they, that's a big decision to make, and I don't think that someone would make it frivolously, and it sounds like it's not something that they can actually enact quickly. It's very time consuming, and I don't think someone would put themselves through that if they weren't absolutely sure. However, there is a part of me that is, I get concerned only because I'm one of those people that believes that God made us who we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? As we were meant to be. And to want to change that with man-made processes, it worries me a little bit. And, but like I said, I don't know anyone who's actually been through that, and I don't know anyone who can speak to it. And I've also been raised up in an environment that also people believe that God made you perfect as you are. And I believe that too, and that's why I'm like, I can't get any surgeries even on myself, you know what I mean? Even if I wanted to, I'm not going to. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do something artificially to change who I am if it's not going to benefit my health. And there have been opportunities for me to change things, but I chose not to, because I do believe that God made me, or like Deanne didn't, and made me how I was meant to be. in the form I was meant to be in, and I need to learn to, and I have to love that. I have to have that. I have to have gratitude for that. You know what I mean? And so that's my own. It sounds very close-minded just saying it aloud. I'm just like, dang, I'm not as woke as everyone else. But that's what I think, you know? So.
Yeah, and like, yeah. I feel like when we were younger, my mom definitely raised us to be accepting of everybody. But then later in her life, and like when me and my brothers were like older, past college, past high school, in high school, she changed to LDS. So then she started following that structure of like teaching, and so when we started, like, you know, high school is kind of the time where, you know, you start having more outlandish friends, people who are gay, non-binary, trans, and everything.
Like, everyone's coming out.
Yeah, so then my mom's like, wow, you guys have a lot of these type of friends. I'm like, you told us not to judge anybody. She's like, did I? I'm like, yeah, that's how you raised us. You told us to be accepting of everybody, no matter what. She's like, huh. I'm like, but now you're LDS.
That's how my parents raised me too, but it was mostly being accepting of people that maybe had disabilities, or people who had like mental delays, or people that were not able-bodied, or people that came from really bad circumstances, to be accepting of those people and have empathy. And I know, like, you're probably like, yeah, right, Adrian. Just kidding. But when it came to sexuality, it was something that we didn't really talk about. You know what I mean? I think my family was a little bit conservative in that sense, as we didn't really talk about sex or anything. Like, we never had the sex talk. You know what I mean? Like, that your family did with you. That wasn't. I learned about.
Like my dad at like the sheep camp, and I kept pestering him about it. He's like, "Fine, this is how it happens." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, I didn't learn about any of that from my family. I learned about sex from my friends. I learned about it from school. I learned about it from books. I read about it because I was curious. And so I kind of came at it when it comes to sexuality through, like, you know, through that. And so a lot of it was from reading books. And so it was very clinical for me. And sexual health was at the forefront for me. So when it comes to sexuality and all these different talks, though, I did not learn that from my family. So it's very, like, yeah, that's kind of probably why my view is a little bit, it's very different, I guess.
And that's fine. That's the point of these talks, right?
I know, all this stuff's coming out. I feel so vulnerable and seen.
Like I felt like earlier with those questions. And like, why? Why is this making me... like, I'm talking about this like nothing, and then like that other topic I wouldn't even say on camera.
I know.
I like, it's weird. It's an irrational fear, and I don't want to share it with the world. So, have I assigned traditional male-female names to match the biological sex of my pets? Why do I socialize my pets on gender, pink collar for girl? Why? What might be important to me that a person be able to identify the gender of my pet? So this is one thing. We have kittens. You've probably seen them in the other videos. We thought we had all girls. And then we figured out one of them was a boy. So the boy one was, we called them Lady Grey. It's like a character from a game. And we thought that was really funny. But then then we figured out it was a boy, because, you know, the balls are right there in your face. And so, like, okay, you're now we were like, should it be Mr. Grey? Lord Grey? Like, nah, he lost his title. He's a Mr. He's no longer, he's not a lady or a lord. He's Mr. Grey. And I think it's important to know the gender of your pet, because what if they get pregnant? You know, what surgeries do they have to, you know, like, they get neutered or spayed? And, like, I did a lot of research in female cats. Every time they go through heat, it increases the risk of getting cancer and different ailments. So that's a very specific gender thing that you need to know about your cat. Whether you go, oh, this is Fufu Cuddly Puffs, you know? Like, yeah, but is it a boy or a girl? Because you need to get it fixed correctly, and they have obviously different ailments. And, like, tomcats.
So she does gender her pets.
Because they have genders. They have sexes, you know? Like, I don't put pink and stuff on a cat, or, like, collars and pink. I wouldn't use pink anyways. It'd probably be red or purple. But...
I don't gender my pets either. Unlike Kelsey. Just kidding.
They have genders.
I know the sex of my animals, but I don't gender them at all. We name our animals based on their physical attributes. So, you know, Chancho and Burley. those are their names. Their collars are very practical. They have those reflective collars. They're like orange and they have a reflective.
Though.
Yeah, they're dogs.
And then like with cats though, like a male cat and a female cat, they act differently.
Yeah, like I've always known the gender, or not the gender, like or gender sex of my animals, but like, I don't name them and dress them up accordingly.
Oh, we only did that to Mr. Gray because, you know, it's a mister. He acts like a mister. Very clingy, like a mister cat, you know? Like, cats have personality. Like, animals, I feel like with dogs and cats, they're definitely gendered attributes. Like, a female dog, she acts protective of, like, the children in the household, and like a male dog is very territorial. They act differently with their gender, and so like, and I know people like, oh, I don't want a female cat, or I don't want a male cat. So everyone genders their pets. Yeah, we had a boy dog and a girl dog, and they weren't gendered in any way. They both had the same. They both had dog houses. They both had the same everything. It's not like I buy a pink house for the cat and a blue house for the other cat, you know?
We had a blue doghouse and a brown doghouse.
I just thought it was funny that we demoted Lady Gray to Mr. Gray and took away their title. That's all. And it's really important for our child who's in kindergarten to learn the difference between male and female. So that's why we have a he and a she, because in class, in school, it's important that she learns those differences. So that just helps her reinforce the things for class that she's being graded on.
So, back to children. This is the last question. Okay, have I assigned traditional male-female names that match the biological sex of my baby or newborn? Why do I socialize my baby newborn based on gender? For example, taping a pink boy to baby's bow. It would be a bow. Pink for girls, blue for boys. Why might it be important to me that a person be able to identify the gender of my baby or newborn?
So, I named my daughter Frankie. That is not a traditional girl name. And I named her the name because so we basically have her as a memorial baby. Because her first name's Frankie and her middle name is Doncella, which is, Frankie is her grandfather's name, Doncella is her grandmother's name on her dad's side, and both of them have passed before she was born. So she's just a little memorial baby name. And she can go by Doncella if she wants to, or Donnie, or Frankie, or Frank, you know. Those are her choices. I don't care either way. They're both beautiful names, and they both mean a lot to me and my husband. And when she was born, I hate pink. I hate the color of baby pink. So I definitely requested everyone not buy her hot baby pink anything. And then one of their family, oh, can I get maroon? I'm like, it's not hot baby pink. She's like, oh, cool, like Arizona Sun Devils. I'm like, I don't care. Because, like, sports, I don't care. And, yeah, so I specifically said not to get her pink because I hate the color and I don't want to be surrounded by the color. That has nothing to do with gender. I just knew people were going to try and buy her pink clothes because she was a girl.
Yeah.
But a lot of the gendered stuff has to do with traditional ceremony and practices.
Oh, I see.
Everything else is like, do you like sharks? We'll get you a shark. Do you like... Because when I go shopping with her, she's very, like, even as a child, as a baby, as a toddler, she's very vocal on what she liked and what she disliked. So if I went shopping for clothes without her, she wouldn't wear the clothes I picked for her. But if I go shopping with her and she picks the clothes and picks the dresses, she wears that more often. So I'm like, okay. And then my mom's like, why are you letting the toddler pick? I'm like, because it's what she likes. It doesn't matter. I don't have to wear it. If she likes it, then she can wear it. I don't care. And she really liked tutu dresses and ballerinas and, like, because that's what she liked. I didn't force any of that on her. You know, I just let her pick and choose the things she likes to wear. And if they're a pink dress or if it's a shark shirt, then that's what she likes. I'm not imposing anything on her. I'm letting her look at it. And I take her to the boys section and I take her to the girls section. I took her to the boys section mainly to get the shorts because they're longer.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
And they have pockets.
Small. Yeah. My daughter always wore long shorts. I never let her wear those little tiny shorts they have for girls. I'm just like, no,
we only put her in the tiny shorts when she wore a dress. Yeah. So that's what we always did with her.
My daughter always had tights.
She had like the little shorts or the long pants under her dresses, just because I knew she wasn't going to be proper in a dress.
I mean, they're kids. They're going to want to play.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'd rather her not burn her butt on these hot rocks outside, so just wear shorts so no one can see your underwear.
I never wanted anyone, like, sexualizing my daughter. That's the one thing I was always concerned about, so I always made sure she was covered up.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to have the freedom, too, to play, not be in these tiny little booty shorts that they put little girls in now.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
I know.
And they don't have pockets.
Little girls want to where are they going to put their rocks right? And their little treasures? Yeah, it's like, I always wear long shorts. So, anyways, yeah.
But that's the only thing with me is, like, anytime anything was, like, specifically for a girl was because of ceremony.
Okay, so have I assigned traditional male-female names that match the biological sex of my baby/newborn? Yes. My firstborn son, his name is gender neutral. It could either be a boy or a girl in the spelling and in the pronunciation. My daughter...
how else would you pronounce Cameron?
Well, there's like Cameron... Well, I don't know. But you're right, yeah. So Cameron is both girl and boy, right? And so it's a gender neutral name, which I wanted. That was intentional. And then my husband chose my daughter's name, Alexandra. And then we gave her my grandmother's name as her middle name. And then we gave our son, he's named after his uncle, who we both, look up to and respect. So that's how they got their names. Mm-hmm. And then my next born son, who is with my current husband, he and I were, I don't know if you've heard that song by Blake Shelton. Like, he says, I think it's called You Name the Babies, I'll Name the Dogs. Our relationship's very like that. It's very like, if you listen to the lyrics, our relationship's very like that. Where it's like, you park your car in the driveway, I'll park my truck in the grass. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a definition of our relationship. It's so funny. But, so he was like, you can choose a name. I wanted to name my oldest son, Cameron, I wanted to name him Nabahi. That's the name I chose for him. But his father didn't want that name. He didn't want a Navajo name for his son because he thought it would be, I don't know, somehow, or our son would get some kind of,
it would be like a negative connotation of like having a foreign name.
Yeah, like he just, I don't know, he just didn't want it. And so I always wanted a son named Nabahi. And so when I was given a son, that was the name I wanted. I didn't have any other names picked out, and I was like, this is the name for him. So we gave him a Navajo name as his first name, and then we gave him a Putupecha name as his middle name, which is his father's tribe. So that's his identity. And I don't know if I don't think they're gendered. I don't think Nabahi is solely for men. I know women can also be warriors and bringers of medicine and protectors of the community. Same thing with his middle name in Putupecha. It's not gender specific. So I like that. Anyways, do I socialize my children based on gender? I like I said, I didn't for a long time, but my daughter, she gravitated toward more feminine, pink, purples, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Hello Kitty. She really did love all that stuff, and so when she got to an age to want to choose for herself, I let her. Mm-hmm. And same thing with my son. I let him choose. I didn't want to enforce it on them, though. So when they didn't have the ability to choose, everything was neutral. But once they did have the ability to choose, I let them. And they gravitated toward,
things.
Yeah. Why might it be important to me that a person be able to identify the gender of my baby or newborn? So as babies, it didn't matter. Babies are babies. They're not even participating, really. They're mostly just eating and sleeping.
I think for me, the only thing that mattered was at the hospital. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, Frankie, he, I'm like, she, because that's important for medical reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even give me a choice. They assigned it.
No. Because Frankie is a boy name.
Oh, the name.
So when they go like, oh, Frankie, your son, can be like, no, it's my daughter, it's a girl. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, okay. I'm like, I know, Frankie's a guy. How are you supposed to know it's a girl? Like, because they always apologize. Yeah. I'm like, how are you supposed to know other than looking at the birth chart?
Yeah.
But
I mean, even like their clothing when they came from the hospital, I don't even think it was colored.
I know they gave
a gender.
They gave my daughter like a pink hat with like the nurse made a cute little bow.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it. I didn't get mad at it. It's like, oh, it's a cute little bow.
I mean, they need to know the gender, right?
Yeah,
they need to know the sex of the baby. I mean, but So I didn't care. We were only there for like 2 days.
That
didn't bother me.
Almost a week.
Really?
Because they had to do her hearing test before they would let her go, and she was just a fuss. She was born fighting. She didn't like nobody. She didn't do nothing. She like fists up, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't matter to me. What mattered to me when my kids were born was that they had the best that I could provide for them. So they had to have, like, the best car seat. They had to have the best stroller. They had to have the best baby gear. You know what I mean? They had to have the best food. They had to have the best toys, so quality toys, wooden toys that were not plastic. You know, I was very, like, careful about the paint that was on their toys, things
definitely.
they would put in their mouths. I made sure their food was all organic and clean.
Yeah, so definitely
I made sure
gender.
They had, high quality diapers and wipes. Like, my kids are spoiled in that sense, and I was just very intentional about it. I wanted them to have fresh, like, authentic, natural fibers on their bodies. I wanted them to just have the best that I could provide for them. That's what I cared about. Colors and all that other nonsense did not matter to me. That was not my priority. I just wanted them to be as healthy and strong. And they were 90% babies. They were very healthy, and I've always maintained that. So since they were born, I've always kind of been like, my kids have to have the best that I can provide. And it's going to carry on probably until I'm gone. But, I just feel like that's my duty as a mom. I have to give them the best. Yeah. I have to. And there's times when I couldn't provide the best for them. You know what I mean? And even then, I didn't lower my standards. I would go without eating if it meant they were going to eat. You know what I mean? I would go without so that I could provide for them. So when I was younger and a new mom, I wouldn't, like, go shopping for myself. All my clothes were secondhand from Goodwill, but my kids had the best clothes, like, quality from a boutique. I wanted to make sure that they had the best, and I continue to do that. You know what I mean? I do not spoil myself. I make sure my kids come first, and so that's one of my values.
A lot of moms do that, like. They put all, like, you see all those memes and everything. It's like, oh, I could get myself a new shirt or a new outfit, or I can buy my daughter her 20th dress today. You know? It's always like that, I feel like. Baby clothes is so fun to shop for. Like, I would go and, like I said, like, we go to the boys and the girls section of, like, the clothes, because she loves sharks, and they only have sharks on the guy's side, or the boys' side, so we go there and get her sharks. And then she likes unicorns and rainbows and sparkles, so we can get that. I'm like, if they make merch for narwhals, I'm pretty sure she would love the narwhal, because it's a unicorn shark. But
I know, right?
But, like, I'm glad that, like, my family respected my thing of, like, I don't want pink in my house. It has nothing to do with the gender. I just don't like the color. So if I don't have to look at it 24/7 on my baby, that's fine.
I think I annoyed the hell out of my parents.
They went with, like, blues and blacks, and they definitely leaned into my more, like, gothic punk side. And they, like, there's so many cute little punk clothes for babies.
There are. I don't want my kids to look like posers, though, so I don't put those on them. I really want to get my kids, like, I want to get Bahi there's band t-shirts they have at Target right now, or they've had for a while. And they have some cool ones, and I want to get them, but I'm just like, no, he doesn't even listen to this. You know what I mean? Like, he can't name 3 songs, so.
He can't talk.
They have, like, he can talk, but they don't have, like, they have Johnny Cash shirts.
Oh.
I want my son to wear a Johnny Cash shirt so bad.
Put him in it.
I can't. He's gonna be a poser.
Let him listen to the music.
He does listen to the music,
but
he doesn't. I do, and he listens to the music, but he doesn't really know the artists. He can't, like, name the songs. It's the principle of it.
Whatever. Like, I remember, like, I bought a shirt from Hot Topic. I didn't know it was a band shirt, because it was, like, it was a button-up shirt, and it had a cute little skull on this side. Cute skull. And I liked it, and I wore it, and then Mom was like, oh, I have that band shirt, too. I'm like, what band? Like, there's, like, on the side, it's, like Adeline or whatever.
I'm
like,
Gen X. I'm strict about certain things.
I'm like, I don't give a flip. If it's pretty, I'll wear it.
I'm very principled.
And
you
that's
can probably tell.
Principle. It's meaningless. But
these are the rules.
No, they're not. Like, with Frankie, like, she listens to metal music. Like, we have a Frankie playlist on Spotify, and there's some metal songs, some techno songs that she really likes, and she sings them. and she'll sing the songs.
That's you. That's not my son. My son is not. He's not like Frankie. He's
yeah,
totally
I know.
different.
But that's something like if she wants to wear a band T-shirt, she'll wear that. Like she belts out running up that hill.
I am not gonna pay for a shirt for a kid who doesn't know the band. I'm sorry. I will not spend my money like that.
I'm like, if they look cute in it, what's the point of having kids if you can't make them little mini yous?
I'm not trying to do that. Like
I
test all my kids. I will if they're like if they want to wear a shirt and they don't know the history of the band and they can't name the songs, I'm just like, take that shirt off.
Or you sit down and you teach them the history. Show them 3 songs. Why you gotta be all gatekeeper about it?
We've showed them whole documentaries. Like, our daughter wanted to wear a Nirvana shirt, so she had to watch an entire documentary and she had to listen to the entire discography. And guess what? She earned the right to wear that shirt. And we do the work, you know what I mean? But my little son, he's 4. Like, he doesn't have the attention span.
Well, then who's gonna expect him to?
I'm not gonna buy him the shirt. It's simple. I don't have to do that.
I'm like, you don't have, well, like you said, like you want to, but then there's like
but I'm
this
not going to.
big gatekeeper thing in your head stopping you. You're gatekeeping yourself, Adrian.
I guess so. It's fine. He can wear a shark shirt.
He's not gonna miss it, honestly.
Care. He loves, like, the things he loves. I'll pay money for those things. Mm-hmm. Like, he likes Mickey Mouse. You know what I mean? And so I buy him Mickey shirts, and that's fine. But I'm not going to buy him a band t-shirt to a band he doesn't know. I'm just saying. I'm not going to back down on that.
I mean, that's fine, but you were just like saying, I want to get it for him, but now I'm not, because I feel like there's this internal...
He's going to be a poser. No, my son's not a poser. My kids...
I don't think anyone's going to assume a 5-year-old wearing Johnny Cash is a poser. They're probably going to be like, oh, I bet their mom loves Johnny Cash. This is more about the parent than it does about the kid. Like, if I put Frankie in a Pink Floyd shirt, they're not going to assume Frankie listens to Pink Floyd.
I'm sorry, but I'm really strict about my band t-shirts.
That's fine.
Like, my kids don't wear shirts they didn't go to concerts to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm very principled about that. I know it's BS. But still, whatever.
It's like your silly thing and like my silly thing of like, oh, you know, metal's guys' music. Because that's all I knew when I grew up. Like, metal. More guys listen to metal music and more females listen to like alternative pop rock music, and that's just the way I grew up. And then like I met a guy who listened to it. Like, I know girls who've listened to metal music, but I've known fewer guys, almost none,
really,
who've listened to like the pop rock alt music.
All my friends listen to metal, punk. We all made fun of pop. Just kidding. No, it got in there. There was like ska though, and some emo and screamo. It was just like everybody. There was no, but of course, like I said, I'm like of an older sect.
No, I'm just like, those were the people I knew, and like, of course, girls could listen to metal and girls could like metal, but I heard of and interacted with less boys and guys who listened to the music I listened to.
Yeah, I love metalheads. They're the best.
They are.
They're the absolute
I married
best.
A metalhead.
I did too, twice. I love metalheads. They're the best people in the world.
Like in my mind, metalheads are masculine.
They are.
They're like, they're the male.
Yeah, both my... Oh,
peak,
that sounds horrible. Both my husbands. They're both very masculine. Yeah, and we balance each other out like that. Because I
don't mean like it's... like for me, gendered, like, metal is male.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Even though there's like really kick-ass metal women, I just feel like if you're a guy and you don't like metal or don't listen to metal, then you're less. And that's just me. That's just my preference. That's just my preference.
And you are entitled to that opinion.
I am, and that's just something.
And it's fine. And I'm not gonna make fun of you about it. To your face. Just kidding. Just kidding. So that wraps up our very long questionnaire, and our audience now knows our gender bias, and I think we have more knowledge about that too, about ourselves and each other.
I think Adrian's learned something about herself talking this out loud. I've always been like, to each their own, don't murder me, I won't murder you.
I've already been aware of all this. I've been through much more extensive self-reflection in the program that I went through. Women in Gender Studies goes through this in and out, and I'm okay with it. I've never tried to be something I'm not. I'm very comfortable with my decisions and my positions, and I respect other people's decisions and positions, but I'm not going to go subscribe to them if I think they're incorrect or wrong. and I'm not going to lower my standards for anybody. They're my own. It's a personal choice, and I don't really care if anyone judges me for it either. And I'm sorry if some people got their feelings hurt.
I'm not.
Kelsey. I'm sorry. I know. That's the only thing I feel a little bad about, because I'm just like, but we went into this knowing that this is going to be a candid, very personal conversation. We know the topic is a heavy one, and I think we both know that we're not always going to agree on everything. But when it comes down to it, you know, like, I think my positions can be very, I think some people might think they're toxic and they're probably perpetuating old ways of believing or knowing, and they might not be as acceptable in today's society. I am a little older than Kelsey, and the way I grew up was different. I did grow up in a different family environment also, and I've had different lived experience. So, but what it comes down to is I think that we're both very fortunate to have met people, friends, family, and partners who know who we are, accept us for who we are, love us regardless, as much as we might irritate them or stress them out.
Or lock them in an office for 7 hours.
Yeah, I know. Garden, I think I should probably buy you guys dinner or something. All right.
Good night.
Bye. I'm going to
Do the clap.
She just smashed it into his face, yeah.
Not a very Navajo friendly. It's like a weird label you're putting on yourself.
They protect us, they guide us, you know. And my father, he worked in law enforcement, so he was.
You witnessed police pulling over cars.
If you got to slap a senator, you slap a senator. Incorporating language and cultural aspects into. Who's your celebrity crush?
Pass.
It's that point where you're just like, what am I